Intro music fading out. Wait, Assad just got a death sentence? The same guy who's been accused of chemical attacks, mass torture, and turning cities into rubble? That's the headline everyone's repeating, but hold on. Let's actually unpack what this means. Because here's the thing, if you think this trial is about justice, you're missing the bigger picture. This isn't just about one dictator or one province. This is about power, accountability, and why the world's response to war crimes is always political. So, the basics: Assad and his uncle's right-hand man, Atef Najib, got death penalties for crimes against humanity. Deraa in 2011, ground zero for Syria's uprising, where the regime allegedly tortured protesters, bombed hospitals, and turned dissent into a death sentence. On paper, this trial looks like a win. But wait, why now? After over a decade of war that killed 500,000 people? And why is the Syrian government, the very system that enabled Assad, suddenly prosecuting him? Here's where it gets surreal. This trial is happening in Damascus. The same government that propped Assad up until he fled to Russia is now playing judge and executioner. Does that feel off to anyone else? Personally, I think this reeks of theater. It's a distraction. The regime wants to pretend they're cleaning house while the real war criminals, like the Russian generals who bombed Aleppo, laugh from their villas. Death sentences for Assad? Sure. But where's the trial for the foreign allies who kept his regime alive? And let's talk about how this trial frames the crimes. They're calling it premeditated murder and torture, but isn't that underselling the horror? This was systemic. The Syrian regime didn't just kill people, they erased entire neighborhoods, weaponized starvation, and built a bureaucracy of death. The court's language is clinical, but what's missing is the psychological terror. Families who watched loved ones disappear, never knowing if they were alive. Cities where children grew up knowing the sound of barrel bombs before playgrounds. That's not just crimes against humanity, it's the destruction of humanity itself. What fascinates me is how this trial mirrors the Nuremberg paradox. After World War II, we said never again, but here we are, a century later, still staging post-war trials that feel more symbolic than just. Why? Because real justice requires dismantling entire systems. And no one's ready to touch the geopolitics of Syria. The US, Russia, Iran, Turkey, all have blood on their hands, directly or indirectly. So instead, we get a show trial that lets the world pretend accountability exists without actually confronting the machinery that enables monsters like Assad. But here's the twist: maybe this trial isn't about justice. Maybe it's about legacy. The Assad regime is fractured now. Bashar's in exile, and Syria's a proxy playground for global powers. By convicting him, the state's rewriting its own history. See, we were never that bad. Meanwhile, survivors are left wondering if a death sentence fixes anything. Can you even punish a man who's already destroyed millions of lives? Or does this just reduce justice to a hashtag? Pause, lean in. Let me leave you with this. If Assad dies tomorrow, does that heal Syria? Does it compensate for the 12 million displaced? Does it reverse the trauma of a generation? Probably not. What this trial really exposes is how broken our systems are. We can't prosecute every war criminal, so we pick one, make a spectacle, and move on. The uncomfortable truth? Assad's trial isn't about justice. It's about the world admitting, out loud, that we never figured out how to stop brutality. We just hope the next monster is scary enough to try. What's your take? Drop it in the comments. Does symbolic justice matter if real justice is impossible?